Okay, I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakat, Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who teacheth the Bible in 100% truth, and shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes of Israel. Starting with the 144,000, consisting of the Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans in the land of the Americas, as well as the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners living amongst the other nations. Shalom to you. Okay, today coming off the back of the previous video that I uploaded, and I spoke about processed food and the fact when you in this modern day you go on a date with a female. You live in a world where you have to actually double check that female is a real female. You have to, whether it's born a female. The same thing with food. You go to the supermarket, you look at food. Well, is this real food or is this processed food, fake food? And I explained obviously with fake food, eventually over time that will make you unwell. You end up at the doctor, and the doctor is not allowed to give you herbal advice, which is something we would give you, through the scriptures. Being in the spirit of Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, we're going to tell you to try to steer clear of man-made products and man-made chemicals as much as possible. Apostle Paul said to use this world, not to abuse it. But one thing I forgot to mention, I was reminded by I think Apostle Tahar mentioned it, and it reminded me of pharmakia, which I completely forgot to mention. So I mentioned the fake food makes you unwell. You end up at the doctor. The doctor's not allowed to give you, so they're not allowed to give you herbal remedies. They're only allowed to give you patented drugs, meds, if you like. I don't really want to say the full word. And I should have really at that point spoke of the word pharmakia, because when you go to the medical field and you deal with those people in this Western society living in the beast system, around the world, some parts of the world, they still have ancient traditions where they use herbal remedies, but all in all, the beast system is trying to push this type of care, this healthcare around the world, and this level of excellency, if you like, and this way of dealing with people when it comes to sickness. Now we know it's all based around money, and a major thing to understand with it is the word pharmakia. Like I say, Apostle Tahar went into it, so I'm not really, I don't want to just repeat and regurgitate and go to the scriptures just to pull out the words. I'll leave the link for his video in the description box, but that reminded me, and then obviously from that you think, well, I've got to mention it, because if you understand the process of going to the supermarket, looking at food, realizing some of it is fake, you eat that over a prolonged period of time, you become sick, you now go to doctor can't give you herbal remedies, but what he does give you puts him in the bracket of pharmakia, and that's why they get what they give you from a pharmacist, from a pharmacy. So before I jump into it, I'm going to make it real quick. I just want to go into those points, because if you're going to understand one thing, you need to understand the other. So if you're new, you've come across this, if you know about the situation with the healthcare system, the food system, then it's good, you're up to date. But obviously if anyone's new, this information is really going for people who don't really know it. So what we're looking at here is a periodic table of the elements. Now, we say a lot of bad things about the Edomites and Esau. The scriptures do tell you that Esau is wiser than Daniel. Daniel, man of the Most High, a prophet, he was wise, but he was mainly wise in a spiritual sense. So he could tell you of the things unseen, and he could explain dreams and so on and so forth. The kings would call him if they had a particular dream that they felt was prophetic or sent by the Most High or sent by some higher divine power. So Daniel was considered a wise man, and Esau is in the scriptures, it categorically tells you that Esau is wiser than Daniel. Now, what does that mean? Is he wise in a spiritual sense? Definitely not, because when you look at these Edomites, they try to catch some sort of spirituality. They've got no idea, so they don't really know. I'm talking about the general public, general people who don't have any power within society, who are just following the ways of society. Sometimes you find these Edomites, they say they want to get back to spirituality, and they find themselves in the forest hugging a tree for 2 hours, as if that's going to bring back spirituality. So Esau doesn't have wisdom in that sense, but he has it in a scientific sense. And the Most High has given him technology and able to carry out his experiments. So what the Edomites have produced here is a table of elements, and so everything, it's pretty deep, because they've pretty much categorized that everything in the world you can see around you today that exists, that you can actually touch, maybe not the supernatural things, because we can't necessarily see or touch them, but the things we can see around us. These Edomites have managed to break everything down in the whole world down to this particular table of elements, and so they'll tell you that everything is made from this particular table. Anything, your car, the light bulb, the grass, or, your body, it's got elements, these particular elements in there, and obviously you find these elements in various different things. So for example, you've got hydrogen. You can see it right here. This represents, if you like, a molecule of hydrogen. Now if you take two of those, hydrogen, H2, and you times it by two molecules of hydrogen, you add it to an oxygen. We all should know this. You add it to an oxygen molecule, H2 hydrogens, one oxygen, add together, you have 3 molecules. And what does that produce? It produces a molecule of water, H2O. So that's how deep Esau's gone. And you've got to take your hat off. Now, that's one hell of a job, to scour the whole earth, break it all down. I mean, we're Israelites, we're quite happy. You drink water, it quenches your thirst. If you pour water on flowers, they grow. We can work out the basics. But Esau has this hunter mentality. And nowadays he hunts through science. He goes around, he finds all these things, he breaks it down, he hunts down the elements within something. He'll find a blade of grass, and he'll hunt down the elements that make up, the molecules that make up this blade of grass. And that's the way in which Esau is wise. Now, so going back to the situation with the doctors, you go to the doctor, he's not allowed to give you a herbal remedy. He can't say, you got the sniffles, go home, take honey, ginger, lemon. He can't tell you all that. That'll put him out of business. Why would you do that? It's like you go to the car shop to service your car, and then they say to you, we'll show you how to service your own car. Look, this is all you've got to do. Just do that. You can do it inside an hour. They wouldn't do that, because nobody would go back. So same thing with the healthcare system. They have to make money, so they're going to give you the patented drugs, and this comes under the word pharmakia. Now, like I said, I didn't want to just repeat or regurgitate. We'll go, just directly to the same scriptures, for example, that Apostle Tahar went to. But obviously, the understanding of pharmakia is important. So I was looking on Google just to find something. Sometimes you find things that phrase things quite nicely and sum it up, conclude it. So you want to make a point. You can, you feel, you think like it. Every time you get frustrated or angry, or you're swearing, it's almost an inability to express yourself. So when you read through Google, you're supposed to go to the scriptures, break it down through the ancient Greek or Paleo Hebrew, what the text was written in, get a true meaning. But you can also go to Google if you're learning. You can type things in. You can type in pharmakia. It will show you these verses where you can find it. But then you have to be careful, because a lot of this information is put up by Edomites. They're wise, but they're not wise in a spiritual sense, so they'll break things down wrong. In this particular article, this has got questions, biblical answers. I picked it because they do describe certain parts very well. However, they do go up onto the Christian tip, so they kind of make mistakes. But I'll read the bits that are relevant. This is, like I say, this is basically for the person who hasn't understood or coming across the information new. What's this all I keep hearing about pharmakeia, what's it all about? And just the whole idea is to just get that point across. If you're of the elect, you will take it. You guaranteed you're going to automatically take it deeper, further, and investigate yourself. And that's just what's going to happen. If you're not, then you won't do it. You'll just brush it off and probably forget about it in 2 weeks' time. So here we've got the Greek word pharmakeia or pharmakeia. Appears in Galatians 5:20 and Revelation 18:23. So just to show you, in Galatians, pharmakeia comes under the word, you've got sorcery. I believe it's for sorcery. Revelation 18:23. Hang on. The word, this is talking of Babylon the Great, and the light of a lamp will shine in you no more, and the voice of the bridegroom and the bride will be heard in you no more, for the merchants were the great ones of the earth, and all the nations were deceived by your sorcery. So it's going back into that word pharmakeia. That's why it's highlighting Galatians 5:20, Revelation 18:23. It's terms from the same root word. It's what we always tell you. As much as these people are Christians and they make mistakes in this article, they still know to go to the root word. It's a basic, common, logical way of defining what's really written in the scriptures. If you're not doing that, then you're never gonna hit the mark. You can never hit the mark, because you're always going to be searching in the wrong area. So terms from the same root word of pharmakeia in Galatians 5:20 and Revelation 18:23, sorcery, appear in Revelation 9:21, Revelation 21:8, Revelation 22:15, and this time is the word sorceries, or sorcerer. It says these are typically translated into English as sorcery, witchcraft, or sorcerer. And so sorcerer carries out the act of sorcery, and so a witch would carry out the act of witchcraft. Ancient Greek uses of pharmakeia closely mirror the generic modern English word drugs. The same Greek root word produced English terms such as pharmacy and pharmacist. I'm going to jump down straight to the next paragraph. I'm going to skip that paragraph. In modern English, separate terms distinguish medicines, chemicals, and illicit drugs, as used in most contexts as pharmacist and a drug dealer. Both distribute chemicals, but of a different kind and for basically different reasons. Because English vernacular uses entirely different words, phrases like selling drugs evoke something illicit, while meds or prescriptions don't imply anything nefarious. So you got a guy, he's hooked on 3 street drugs a day, crack and this one and that one, and you say, well, this guy's in a pretty bad state. But then there are other people with health problems. They develop the health problems through the bad diet. They go to the doctor, and the doctor is using pharmakeia. And but in this world, we know that by going to the doctor, he giving you pharmakeia, you take these things 3 times a day or whatever else. We know that's not a good thing, but in this world it's seen as, it's fine. So if I know a guy, he's having to take 10 pills a day because the doctor told him so, there's not, we got nothing against that guy, but we got something against the guy that's, hooked on 3 street drugs a day. But really, we should have a problem with the guy who's taking the 10 doctor's pills a day, because why are you in that state in the first place? So a lesson has to be taught to the person who's having to take 10 prescription meds a day, just as much as the guy who's taking, say, 3-4 street drugs a day. Obviously, both have different lifestyles. You wouldn't really want to be around the guy with the street problem. Obviously, he's more likely to rob your stuff. So other things come into it, but you've got to look at the health. I'm talking about the health aspect of it. And this is what they're saying. You see, in English vernacular, they separate these different things. So pharmacist evokes something nefarious, drug dealer evokes something sinister. It says here, ancient Greeks used words like pharmakia to refer to the entire spectrum, from medicines to psychoactives to poisons. This makes cultural and biblical context crucial when interpreting terms related to pharmakeia. So that's the bit I wanted to, for the new person trying to understand. That's what you have to understand. You go to the scriptures, you have this word pharmakeia, and it covers a wide variety of things. What does it say here? So from meds to psychoactives and things that make you hallucinate or see things, maybe necessarily like LSD or whatever else, and then poisons. Obviously, we know what poisons is to do. It's to harm people. So when you read through the scriptures, it's talking of pharmakeia. It's talking about these particular things. When you move into the modern day world, this is how they sell it to you. These Edomites, they say, well, we're living in a modern day society. We've got a new way of thinking. We have all this understanding that these ancient people never had. So we're going to use it, and we live a better lifestyle. And what they've done is they've taken the products, if you like, that belong to pharmakeia, and they divided them through English vernacular to say these are bad, these are illicit because they come to you through the drug dealer. Oh, but these are okay, these come to you through the doctor. But really, both of them are just as bad for you in different ways. Okay, the guy who's on the street, we can see his problems from a mile away, just by the way he's dressed and the way he's carrying himself. Maybe you can't see that with the guy who's on the prescription, but he still has a huge problem. And these people, what they do is they get so sick by eating the bad diet. They get so sick, they go to the doctor then says, you need this or you're going to die. And so now really you're just as hooked onto these prescriptions, because you're just as hooked, because now you're going, well, I need this to keep my I need this to keep this going, I need that to keep that going. So now you're just as dependent on that as Mr. Crackhead over there. And then you got to realize you take like paracetamol, it thins your blood. How does it thin your blood? How does that tiny little white dot thin your blood? You're not like a car. When you got like screen wash, and you got a little bit left, half screen wash, you want to top it up, you ain't got no more screen wash, so you just put water in there, and the screen wash in there just gets diluted, but you still got screen wash. You're not a car, you're a human. So people get to such an ill state, they need to thin out their blood to keep their blood in order to be able to keep pumping. And so then they take things like paracetamol, it thins it out. How the hell is that? That's some real reaction going on inside. So what these people are doing all goes back to pharmakeia. Let me just keep reading. Ancient societies were no stranger to mind-altering chemicals. So this is what these things do. Now, when you got the guy on the street, he's taking these things. Clearly, his mind is altered. He can't talk straight, can't pronounce his words. Nowadays, you've got these people that become zombies. They're just hanging on the street like a coat hanger, just hanging there. And then when you go to the prescription side of it, you take pain relief, right? You've got a broken leg. Your leg's broken. Now you take pain relief. Now you can't feel the pain. But what happened to the pain? The pain's still there. Your leg's still broken. So your mind has been altered into believing that there's no more pain. That's why you take the pain relief, and it works. I've been in that situation. As much as I tell you, take the herbal advice as much as you can. I've had accidents. I had an angle grinder through my hand. a stone cutting one, not a metal blade, a stone cutting blade, which is sharper. And cut my tendons. I was eating painkillers. I was eating them for breakfast, eating them for lunch, eating them all day, and it still wasn't touching the sides. They were giving me all these things. I was just eating it, like, yeah, just give me more, give me more. Just weren't doing it. So, sometimes you find yourself in a scenario and you ain't really got much choice, but obviously if you can find other ways around it. And what was I doing at that point? I was altering the chemicals within my mind, the perception. I was trying to trick my mind by taking these things to stop feeling the pain, but it weren't working. Archaeologists, it says here, note the presence of opium and hemp and many other substances in Bible-era cultures. These compounds were not as potent as modern options, but still capable of powerful effects. For example, synthetic drugs like carfentanil are 100,000 times as powerful as the equivalent dose of natural opium. This is what allows a small dart to tranquilize an elephant, but opium itself is still a strong drug. So in ancient times, you had pharmakia. Pharmakia is linked to witchcraft, sorcery, the sorcerer, and it involves altering the mind through substances. Now they could have done that, through herbal. They would have used herbal things to do that, just like we use herbals to heal ourselves. We call on a righteous power. There's many people in the world that call on an unrighteous, false, idolized power, a false power. So things work on the left and the right hand side. But now we live in the modern day. Remember what I told you? These Edomites say, "No, we live in the modern day. This is this is 2024. We don't do what they used to do. We're a modern day people. We got science. We work stuff out. We got the periodic table. Do you know how deep we are? We went around the world and we broke everything down to this table of elements. So you can't argue with these Edomites." And then they set up their beast system. And now what they've managed to do, you see, go back to that periodic table. They went into opium, say, and they said, well, which bit in opium is the bit that blows your head off? And they found the molecule, and they know how to extract it. They know how to multiply it. So then now when they give you something, the same dose as the opium that you take something else, the same dose, man-made by Esau, and it's 1,000 times more powerful. It says here, this is what allows a small dart to tranquilize an elephant. So there's people out there that take K. That's a street name. Proper name is ketamine. Ketamine is horse tranquilizer. So what these people are doing is they're taking a product, a chemical. It's actually, really, it's on the prescription side of it when you check it, because it's supposed to be used for healthcare benefits of the animal. It's supposed to tranquilize it and then do what they got to do, and then the horse wakes up, goes run around the field. You're free. But somehow that has made it to the illicit side, and now you've got street dealers with it. They call it K. They give it out to people. People are they're sitting there like zombies, dribbling from the nose. It takes them 4 hours to snap out of this zombie state or whatever. So this is where we live in, this world where Esau's able to exaggerate things. Don't forget, in the previous video I spoke about the food, and when you got fake food, processed food, it tastes 10 times more strawberries than the normal strawberry, because they went into the molecules. Esau is wiser than Daniel. They found out which molecule hits your taste bud. They extract it. They learn how to multiply it and produce a strawberry with 1,000 times more strawberry taste, and that's the processed one, and then they hit you with it. So Esau being able to get into that point where he broke everything down into that periodic table, from that point onwards we was always doomed, because now he had the answer to the elements that makes things, and he could make his own things. And this is where we're at. It says here, mood-altering substances were also used in connection to ancient religious practices. Temples such as those in Greece sometimes used mind-altering drugs in fortune-telling and oracles. And we don't have to do that. We're able to come out here, read the scriptures, break down prophecy, break down future events. You see them start to come to pass. Nobody calling on the name Yahweh B'Hashim Yahweh Shai has to go and get high, or in some type of particular state of mind. We don't need music. We don't need, incense is maybe nothing wrong with it, but we don't need it. We just need to call on the name Yahweh B'Hashim Yahweh Shai, and we're able to give you the oracles and fortune telling of Yahweh B'Hashim Yahweh Shai. But on the other side, they call on fake spiritual powers. There is a spiritual power, the devil, and he's out there to deceive. And if you call on these fake false idols, he will make deceptive things happen around you for you to keep believing in it. But ultimately, for those people, for religions to keep people wrapped up, they had to somehow make them feel different when they were involved with that religion. So they end up using mind-altering substances. It says, these may have included natural vapors and deliberately concocted mixtures. And a concoction is just a brew. Like you've got the witch with the cauldron and the brew, and she puts the wing of a bat and the tail of a fox and whatever else. Same thing with the herbal remedies. I told you, when you get the sniffles, make a brew. Honey, lemon, hot water, brandy. When you go to the doctor and they say take this 3 times a day, and that thing, even though it's solid, it's been brewed, it's been elements mixed together. And don't forget, Esau's got the power to get the exact elements to enable to expand the power of these things. That's why the small dart is able to tranquilize the elephant. So these may have included natural vapors around religious practices, false idol worship that Paul was talking about, and deliberately concocted mixtures. When Paul wrote Galatians and John recorded Revelation, these practices would have been part of pagan idolatry. So check this out. So you living in ancient times, whatever, Apostle Paul comes along, he says, look, you're following this false idol worship. You go to this temple, you say, yeah, but when I go there, I feel enlightened. They talk about the Most High, and they call him this, and they call him that, and I feel enlightened. But you're telling me you got the truth, blah, blah, blah. Then it says here, mood-altering substances, deliberately concocted religious practices, natural vapors. So I'm going to tell you this one. This is Frank. You can talk to Frank. Frank is a UK, I don't know if it's worldwide, but I know in the UK they advertise it. If you've got a problem, talk to Frank. And then so what you can do is you can go through the list A to Z, and you can find anyone you want. So you know what it is? I'm laughing because what it is, I've got nothing to do with what I'm about to say. I've got nothing to do with this scene, the whole industry, everything, whatever's existed to do with this is nothing to do with me. You might say, well, how do you know this information? I just know stuff. So I just know what I know. When you put two and together, you got to think like the wicked in order to work out their next steps. Right, so we just read in, you got these ancient religious practices in the temples, aromas, special concocted brews and blends, and mind-altering substances. Okay, we know with a lot of these ancient religious practices, these false ones, there's a lot of sexual things that happen, like orgies, gangbangs, whatever, men on men, chick on chick, whatever. And what they do is they pray to, like you got Belpeor. You could look up Belpeor in the scriptures. You got people that go to a temple, they pray to a false idol. They've having this orgy in the name of that idol. That's what the leaders tell them. This is what whatever they want you to do. They want you to be gangbangs. They want the people to run on. This God wants to run on you. So these people fall for it. And what it is, they have, when they go into these temples, they have their mind, the perception is altered. And so imagine you got someone telling you, come into this temple. This is a godly place. You've never been there, and you get in there, and you feel different. right? So I'm going to hit you with that, and then I'm going to hit you with this, which is, you can go to Frank and you can go to, look, alcohol, street name booze or bevy, agaric, street name magic mushrooms. And then so you got this one. I heard this years ago. I don't know where I heard this, but I heard it. Amyl nitrate. So this is what the batsmen use. The alphabet boys. This is what they use. The b-boys, the bum bandits, the batsmen. Okay, so what I've heard is that they take that, and what that does is, obviously you can see the name poppers. You've probably heard that. And that is to, it's the daytime. I don't want to like get too in the gutter, but there's a certain point on your body which we consider an exit point. These batsmen, these quegs, they consider that exit point an entry point. And so to make their life easier, they sniff that, and then the exit point expands. Now imagine I invited you into a temple. So come into my temple, this is the true Most High. And then you get in there and it's as man on man. But you've got the vapors burning in the air. And then so people are going to walk in. They're going to breathe in this vapor. They're going to start feeling slightly dizzy. What's that feeling? That's because you're in the temple of the Most High. Then you see all these people doing this man on man shit, which is disgusting. Let's just get that straight. But what these vapors, they have an effect on your body. Okay, let me say it like this. You walk into a room that's been hotboxed by people smoking weed. What's going to happen to you? It's going to be like you had the effect of smoking the weed because you got hotboxed. So what happens when you hotbox people with amyl nitrate or poppers? The exit point is going to start tingling, and then they go, oh, that's the God. See, and then people fall for it. Do you know what I mean? I hope you understand what I'm saying. I don't want to go deep or graphic, but you got to put two and two together, man. You got to put two and two together. If you came into my temple and I had weed just burning her up, like a Rastafarian temple, and weed is everywhere, and I said, when you come in here, you will feel the presence of the Most High. And you come in and you feel, next thing you know, you can't take a straight step. You're bumping into it. You go, what's that? I go, that's the Most High. This is the place of the Most High. It's too holy for you. And you go, nah, fucking hell. And that's how you get people. But it weren't. It was just the super skunk that was burning in the corner of the room, getting everybody high, and everybody down the streets buzzing. So you got to think like the wicked to be one step ahead of them. You got to understand their next move. Mood altering substances were also used in connection to ancient religious practices. We know ancient religion practices, they had like sexual connotation to it in a big way. Temples such as those in Greece sometimes use mind altering drugs in fortune telling oracles. These may have included natural vapors and deliberately concocted mixtures. When Paul wrote Galatians and John recorded Revelation, these practices would have been part of pagan idolatry. So he goes on to say Galatians 5:20 is part of Paul's list of contrasts to the fruit of the Spirit, which is in Galatians 5:22-23. That list works of the flesh, which is Galatians 5:19-21, does not appear to be random. The references are collected into groups of similar offences. Paul begins by mentioning sexual sin, then idolatry, then sorcery, pharmakeia, and then division, before moving on to drunkenness and debauchery. His reference to pharmakeia is grouped closer to idolatry and sexuality than it is to drunkenness, which hints at the use of illicit drugs in ungodly spiritual practices. Broke it down. John's reference might also be connected to pagan worship. Revelation 9:21 comes immediately after a condemnation of idolatry, yet this reference also sits between mentions of murder and sexual sin. Revelation 18:23 is part of a condemnation of Babylon, which is America. referring to its deception. And don't forget, when John was speaking, Babylon, ancient Babylon, had long gone. So, people say, oh, he's talking about ancient Babylon. Babylon was dead and buried, thousands of years before that. So he's talking about a new Babylon, which is America. Revelation 18:23 is part of condemnation of Babylon, referring to its deception. The phrasing closely echoes the statement of Nahum 3 and 4, which refers to charms. The Hebrew root word used in Nahum is kesef, that is used in reference to idolatry and often translated as sorcery, and is seen in 2 Kings 9 and 22, Isaiah 47, 9, 12, and Micah 5 and 12. So the charms, you see, they're linking the charms of Babylon the Great, America. And then, it all goes back to mind-altering substances. And one of those things is the healthcare. And don't worry, we can look after you. We've got this great healthcare system. We've got these top doctors, these scientists. We've broken everything down into the periodic table. We know what molecule you need to fix your problem. And then they're boosting you with all this BS. And ultimately, they say, no, this is legal. Look at that illicit stuff over there. That's illegal. Even though sometimes these things cross paths. The products cross over industries. But they say, no, that's illegal, and so we're doing it for your benefit. But the scriptures is referring to all of that as pharmakia, witchcraft, sorcery, and sorcerers and witches. Yeah, you got to be careful when you're reading around the Christian websites. So witchcraft or sorcery is something that still goes on today. When you watch TV and they've got subliminal messages hitting your brain, that is witchcraft to a T, because it's mind altering. That's what it's doing. It's mind altering. Every time you sit and watch the TV, guaranteed within that hour there's some sort of subliminal message hit your mind, and that is mind altering. You don't really realize it's changed you, but it does change you. The same way when you take the pain relief, it tells your brain, oh, no, there's no pain. What are you talking about? And so all of a sudden you can't feel the pain, but your leg's still broken. But then nowadays you get like a lot of women. You look on Google, look, witchcraft books. I mean, look at the witchcraft for beginners. Book of Shadows, the Green Witch, the Book of Practical Witchcraft, Large Witchcraft Kit. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. People don't produce books and put them up for sale if you ain't getting the sales. And these things are out there. Apostle Tahar mentioned, women using potions to make men attracted to them. That happens, even in the Elamite culture. I've seen that, and the African culture. I've seen that in there. If you like the Latino culture, I've seen that in there. This you see, these kind of things have been about. This is witchcraft on Wiki. Witchcraft, as commonly understood, is both historical and present-day communities, is the use of alleged supernatural powers of magic. A witch is practitioner of witchcraft. Traditionally, witchcraft means the use of magic or supernatural powers to inflict harm or misfortune on others, and this remains the most common and widespread meaning. And when you click on the word magic is an ancient practice rooted in rituals, spiritual divinations, and all cultural lineage, with the intention to invoke, manipulate, or otherwise manifest supernatural forces, beings or entities in the natural world. So if you like magic, you got to realize when you got to see a guy doing a magic card trick, that's not magic. That's just a sleight of hand situation. He comes at you. He says, pick a card. He puts the card back in the deck and he shuffles it around and he pulls out your card. Is this your card? Yeah, that's my card. That's not magic. There's no supernatural force involved. That's just a sleight of hand situation. What you would refer to maybe as things like black magic. which they're more likely to carry out there in the Caribbean. That's real magic, if you like. Real magic being, ancient practice rooted in rituals, spiritual divinations, with the intention to invoke, manipulate, or otherwise manifest supernatural forces, beings, or entities into the natural world. So, like I say, you have us calling on Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. That's a righteous name. We don't need any illicit drugs or anything to alter our mind, and we're able to give you oracles of the Most High. But on the left-hand side, people trying to rope people into these religions, they do call on left-hand side spiritual powers. There is power behind it to a certain degree, because the spiritual demon Satan will work to keep them believing in that spiritual power. So he'll make, things appear, might make a demon appear, or certain things manifest itself in order for these people to keep believing what they're believing. Ultimately, the job of the devil is to stop these people from understanding the truth. And best way to do that is to make them believe in something else. And when they have strong beliefs in that, they say, no, I called on this and I saw a demon. Well, the demon's got a good stronghold on you. So when you go to witchcraft, I was reading through this and I just wanted to... It says, in Europe, belief in witchcraft traces back to classical antiquity. So, right now I'm looking at witchcraft within Europe. Like I say, you can go all around the world, go to many different traditions, and there are people carrying out different forms of witchcraft. In the modern day sense, you don't follow any of these, religious customs or rituals, lifestyles. You're an atheist. You're living in the modern world, but you're still subject to witchcraft through television, through subliminal messages. Obviously, there are other things that are out there. You have to realize when you go to a supermarket and it's laid out in a certain way, is to attract you into particular aisles and then to direct you through certain directions. And then, for example, when you arrive at the counter, what you're going to find there, you're going to find loads of sweets. So now you're standing there, people are standing there with their children waiting to pay, and then you have kids kicking off because they all want these sweets, these chocolates, and they're standing there looking at them for 10 minutes at the counter, and you've got these mini displays. So even when you go into a supermarket, they speak to your subconscious by laying things out in certain ways for you to walk in certain directions. That's subliminal messaging. That's witchcraft. And obviously it goes into the healthcare system as well. The concoctions that are put together, the mind-altering state that physical altering the state that these healthcare products do. But it says that in Europe, belief in witchcraft traces back to classical antiquity. In medieval, so we know that's the Dark Ages, the time when Israelites were ruling Europe. You go to Edomites' education system, you go to school, they teach you that there was a time called the Dark Ages. Not much was happening, also known as the medieval time. Well, it's actually known as the Byzantine era, or the Byzantine kingdom, time when so-called black people were ruling Europe. So this goes back to Jake, basically Israelites. It says in medieval and early modern Europe, accused witches were usually women who were believed to have used black magic or maleficium against their own community. Usually accusations of witchcraft were made by their neighbours and followed from social tensions. Witches were sometimes said to have communed with evil beings or with the devil. So I'm not going to read further, but you have to understand, when you go to a wedding and you've got this guy walking around doing magic card tricks. I've been there. He asked me for a £5 note. I gave him a £5 note. He moves his hands around really fast. They call it magic. That's not really magic. That's just sleight of hand. And then he produces a £20 note. And then, people believe, oh my gosh, this guy produced a £20 note out of thin air. Well, I'll tell you one way to find out is to snatch that £20 note, which is what I did when it happened to me. You snatch that £20 note real quick and stick it into your pocket, and you see the reaction on his face when the guy realizes he's about to lose £15. You see, all of a sudden, no, I need that back. Oh, so you can't just magic these notes out of thin air. It's not magic. It's sleight of hand. But black magic or maleficium, concoctions, in the name of particular spirit. But in Europe, they had a thing here called goetia, viewed as maleficium, sorcery, and witchcraft. And looking at this picture here, it almost should come with a age restriction, so you kind of get an idea of what's happening. You've got so-called religious people, you've got the demonic activity, you've got women being used for a sexual purpose, and you see all these big batties up around here, around the side. So goetia and some, though not all, medieval grimoires. So they have in Europe they had these medieval grimoires, which like a memoir, but a grimoire, became associated with demonolatry. And demonolatry is pretty much what, when you read through the scriptures, worshipping false idols, fake gods, wood and stone. And it goes back to demonolatry because they call on these names, going into these, black magic, what's his name? What's his name? The one with the dead, Baron Samedi. They call him Baron Samedi, whatever. You can go to all these different names. You could sit here all night, Santa Maria, and list through all these things, go all around the world. They have all these different names. And so people worship these particular demons. That's why they carry out the witchcraft. They believe in it. You've got a woman who's creating potions to get her boyfriend to fall in love with her. She believes in it. And then there'll be some sort of supernatural, spiritual name behind it. And she'll make call upon it. And ultimately, they're all soldiers of the devil. The devil is doing the left-hand work of the Most High, keeping people in sin and in deception. But it says here, these grimoires contain magical words of power and instructions for the evocation of spirits derived from older pagan traditions. Sources include Assyrian, Egyptian, this is ancient Egyptian, Mizraim, Persian. Persian is, like East Indian, Iranian, Afghanistan. When you go to Assyrian, that's Babylonian, ancient Babylonian. This is a Greek, Celtic, and Anglo-Saxon paganism, and include demons or devils mentioned in the Bible, such as Asmodeus, Astaroth, and Beelzebub. So, we're going through the scriptures all the time, and we're constantly telling you that, where's America? Where's America? America has many different code words, and it's named after the places that have been before it, which it comes in the image of, or it comes in the tradition of, or it comes with the customs of. We tell you all the time, sometimes you read Assyria or Egypt, it refers to America. And, some of the things in America today have come from medieval Europe. And, what this is exactly goes back to what we tell you. America pushes the philosophy of these ancient philosophies, anything against the Most High, including witchcraft. The grimoires contain magical words of power and instructions for the evocation of spirits. We do that on the right hand side. We call on Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai in order to activate the Holy Spirit, and then we hope and we pray that the Holy Spirit works around us and guides us through these particular scenarios. But on the other side, so when you look at modern day healthcare in America, Babylon the Great, or even the UK, all around the world, you see these particular symbols associated with modern day healthcare. You've got on the left, you've got the caduceus, and on the right, you've got the rod of Asclepius. And so the rod of Asclepius will be used in the UK, I believe the one on the left is mainly used in America. So you look at the modern day healthcare system, like I say, and these are the particular symbols that front the organizations. Now, we go to Wikipedia, for example, just to get an understanding. You see here the Caduceus, I hope I pronounced that right, from Greek. Herald's wand or staff is the staff carried by Hermes in Greek mythology, and consequently by Hermes Trismegistus in Greco-Egyptian mythology. The same staff was borne by other heralds like Iris, the messenger of Hera. The short staff is entwined by two serpents, sometimes surmounted by wings. In Roman iconography, it is depicted being carried in the left hand of Mercury, the messenger of the gods. And so you've got the particular symbol there, and this is supposed to be a statue of Hermes, butt naked. I could never understand that. If you made a statue of me, make one of me with my clothes on, please. Some accounts assert that the oldest imagery of the Caduceus is rooted in Mesopotamia, with the Sumerian god Ningish-Zida. His symbol, a staff with two snakes intertwined around it, dates back to 4000 BC to 3000 BC. This iconography may have been a representation of two snakes copulating. As a symbol, it represents Hermes, or the Roman Mercury, and by extension, trades, occupations, or undertakings associated with their god. So you can look into it. I mean, it does go on to say, thus, though its use in astrology, alchemy, and astronomy, it has come to denote the planet Mercury, and by extension. But you see, he says alchemy. Alchemy is also a form of concoctions. Bringing concoctions. A chemist. Someone who's when you go to chemistry class and you're mixing this solution with that solution, and it sets a light or whatever. That's all alchemy. So that's again goes into line with making concoctions, particular mixing things, herbs, maybe creating drinks, aromas, so on and so forth. And this is all to cast spells, so on and so forth. And I mentioned the word grimoire a minute ago. Grimoire, in many cases, the book themselves are believed to be imbued with magical powers. The only contents found in a grimoire would be information on spells, rituals, and preparation of magical tools, and list of ingredients and their magical correspondences. So you go on Amazon, you type in book of witchcraft. It's pretty much a grimoire. And you've got. I remember my friend when I was young. My friend had the book, the Anarchist Cookbook. He had that, and since this is a book, you look through it. I didn't really specifically go and hunt it out, but he had it there in his hand, right in front of me. So I looked through it, and it just gives you different ways to do wicked stuff, basically, and ways into trick people into doing this, or manipulate people into doing that, or creating poisons or substances that people can't detect. All types of wickedness, basically. But the person, he was actually that type of person. You go back to the books of witchcraft. You could say that these are grimoires, but that's just what they called it in the medieval time. Like I say, you could go to any time, any set of people, any religion of people, any type of people, any nationality, any age that they lived in, and there's people always been out there carrying out witchcraft, sorcery, so on and so forth. It all goes back to that pharmakia, the same thing that the doctors, what they're doing, they're carrying out the job of a sorcerer or witchcraft, with the concoctions, and then the organization that they work under are you can see these particular symbols heading them. There was one other bit actually. It says here, although the rod of Asclepius, which has only one snake and no wings, is the traditional and more widely used symbol of medicine. That's the one you're more likely to see in the UK. It says the caduceus is sometimes used by healthcare organisations, given that the caduceus, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, is primarily a symbol of commerce and other non-medical symbology. Many healthcare professionals disapprove of this use. So you've got these healthcare professionals and they think that they're working for an organisation that is, for the good of people, but they don't realise they're working for a demonic organisation, and they are carrying out the job of a sorcerer. But the fact that they don't realise it is because their mind has been manipulated and controlled. So it goes back to the witchcraft. And so then they're working in that organisation. They're saying, why have we got these symbols as our... Because you don't realise what you're working for. But we do. We have our eyes open. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai. When you go to Isaiah 13 and 19... let's start up at 17. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they should not delight in it. So the Medes are the Russians being stirred up against Babylon, America. It says, their bows shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on their fruit of the womb. And their eyes shall not spare children, and that's going to be through the ICBMs. ICBMs, they don't say, oh my gosh, there's a couple of kids over there's a school, let me redirect myself over there. No. The ICBM does what it's told to do, and when they lock in those targets and they hit fire, it says no pity on the fruit of the womb, their eyes shall not spare children. It says, and Babylon, which is America, Isaiah 13 and 19, the glory of kingdoms, because it is the glorious, the glory of kingdoms right now. It's that main go-to country supposedly, and the powerful nation of the earth today. The beauty of the Chaldees' excellency shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. So, we tell you all the time that America is not written in the Bible as America. It could be called Babylon, Mystery Egypt, the Chaldees, Assyria, all these different names. Edom, Bosra, I'm just trying to think of more. There's so many. And so, sometimes they're referred to as the Chaldees, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency. And it says in America, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency. And what were the Chaldees known for? Straight put it into Google. The Persians considered this Chaldean society class to be masters of reading and writing, especially versed in all forms of incantation, sorcery, witchcraft, and the magical arts. They spoke of astrologists and astronomers as Chaldeans, and it is used with specific meaning in the book of Daniel. So that's all you need to know. Why does sometimes the scriptures talk about America as the Chaldeans? Because the Chaldeans are known for sorcery and witchcraft, and America is then called the excellency. Behold, I will stir up the Medes. Let's jump back down. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency. And so the Chaldees were into witchcraft and sorcery, and they use that in today's society. Then, so when we look up the words beauty and excellency, you're actually going to find the same Hebrew word. It says, Babylon, America, glory of kingdoms, the number one kingdom, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency. In the Hebrew, you have the same word twice. It says here, go'on. So beauty is the word go'on in the Hebrew. The go'on of the Chaldees go'on. So it's the same word repeated twice. We have here pride, excellency, majesty, pomp, swelling, arrogancy, excellent and proud. So we know, for example, Revelation chapter 17 talks of America being that woman clothed in purple and scarlet, decked with gold and precious fine stones. And it's pretty much speaking of the same thing here. So, going back to Isaiah 13:19, it says that, so we have now the same word twice, the Gaon of the Chaldees Gaon, the pomp of the Chaldees pomp. So the Chaldees had a pomp, a particular type of pomp, and that's mirrored in America today. And so, like I say, the Chaldees were known for witchcraft. That's a similarity with what we can see in America, and they're also known for the luxuriousness. Just like I say, sometimes you can find ways to. This one. Sometimes you're just trying to phrase something. Just typed it into Google. What does it mean by the excellency of the Chaldees? The reference to Babylon, and this is Bible.art. We didn't have to go very far. They described it perfectly. It says the reference of Babylon as the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency further emphasizes its splendor and opulence. Opulence is like luxuriousness. The Chaldeans were an ancient people known for their advanced knowledge of astrology and astronomy. So America, they've got these scientists. They've got this space force. They won the so-called space race. And that's, people say, oh, is it real? Is it fake? The bottom line is they wanted to present themselves as that number one nation. We have the technology, the information, the brains. And, you look around the world for years, throughout my whole life. I mean, it's changing now. It's changed in the last 5 to 10 years. But you go back, at least the last 50 years, everybody wanted to be like the Edomites. They wanted to live that Edomite lifestyle. Even to the point where you got Jakes or whoever, people in different communities, Elamites, East Indians, you got Ishmaelites. They want to do business with these Edomites more than they want to do it with their own people. And they say, yeah, these people are like. I mean, I'm talking about Edomites in general. These people are the go-to people. They're the clever people. They turn up in their suits. They're sophisticated. They've got this, the clipboard and all that, and they got all this statistical knowledge. They got the periodic table. Got all these details of science, and they get wowed by it. You got an East Indian who's got about, you go to his house and he's got a whole room dedicated to a shrine of false idols, and about 1,000 different false idols sitting in there praying to this one and that one and that one. You look at him, he's got a necklace for this and a bangle for that and a fucking bracelet for this and a whatever for that and a fucking red dot on his forehead, all this shit. And then you look at what he does with his time. He spends his time running after the Edomite, the white man. He runs after him, wants to be like him, wants to join his establishments, wants to rise to the top. And that comes through. It comes through what gets pushed through the world, through the beast system. And who's the one manipulating the beast system? That woman that decked in scarlet, purple and scarlet, decked with gold and precious fire stones. That's America. So this is the reference of the Babylon as the beauty of the Chaldeans further emphasizes its splendor and opulence. The Chaldeans were ancient people known for advanced knowledge of astrology and astronomy, and their association with Babylon added to its reputation as a place of wisdom and sophistication. So this modern lifestyle that we live in today, the beast system is what we live under, and a lot of the genders in the beast system are pushed through America and the philosophies, including the healthcare system. And you look at it today, that healthcare system has a reputation of wisdom and sophistication within this modern society. It's based around sorcery, and you got to think, 500 years ago, you got an abscess on your leg, and you go to the doctor and you say, I've got this abscess on my leg, and what's the options? The options are, the abscess could have grown. There's not much I can do. We gave you some herbal remedies. It's not working. We've only got one option left, and we're gonna have to amputate it, right? So, okay, yeah, people have been amputated, for centuries and centuries. So what's 500 years ago? What's the procedure for amputation? Well, here's a bottle of whiskey. That's your pain relief. We're gonna tie up your leg with a belt, and then we're gonna we'll take a bolo, take a machete, a bolo. We're gonna chop that leg off. So that's gruesome. That's terrifying. It's horrific. But then you fast forward up until today, and you look at the modern healthcare system. This beast system, which is manipulated by Babylon the Great, can offer you things. Don't forget this MOTB's coming. So you're gonna the only way to live within the system is to take what it gives you. And it says, here you go. Here's infrastructure. Here's this. Here's that. Here's a healthcare system. So you people out there, when you're sick, you come to us with the beast system, and we have this particular system for you, and it comes across as sophisticated and wise. The sorcerers of ancient times were wise men in their times. And don't forget when when Moses rocked up on the Pharaoh, and he started telling the Pharaoh, this, that, and the other, and the first thing that happened is the sorcerers of the Pharaoh, the wise men, they came up with their staffs, and then Moses threw his staff down, turned into a serpent. They threw their staff down, turned into a serpent, and then Moses' serpent ate their serpent. But that shows you, the king, what's the first thing he'd done? He could have called for a bodyguard, a heavy, and just said, yeah, just pick this guy up and just dash him out the door. But he called for the wise men, and that's so these people were respected. And so you come forward to today in this society, just like in ancient societies, the sorcerers are well-respected people. These doctors giving you these concoctions from the pharmacy, from the pharmakeia. And it's sophisticated. And you think, like I say, you think now from that type of operation you had to have 500 years ago, you had to have an amputation. You think of the amputation procedures today, it's a lot more sophisticated. Even the word luxury, obviously when it's saying, you go back to Isaiah 13, and it's saying, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency is talking about the nation of America, Babylon the Great, and its pompness. I'm talking of something within that, within that umbrella. But obviously, you see these elements filter down into it. Sophistication, wisdom, and what was the other one? I forgot. There was one more. It says it further emphasizes in splendor and luxury, opulence. So that's that's to do with America as a nation. But like I say, the things, the agendas they push, you'll see elements of that within there. Don't forget the healthcare system, the sorcery, comes with charm. It's in the book of Nahum, spoken of as charms. So to rope you into the healthcare system, it comes across as charming to you. And that's what they say to you, look, we've got this science, we've got these periodic tables. We are the wisest of the wisest. And, you don't have to have an amputation, like a gruesome amputation with a bottle of whiskey and a bolo and a belt. We got anesthetic, we can put you to sleep, this, that, and the other. So you fast forward even from that to the point where now people choose to have operations and they say, can you make me look better? And the healthcare profession says, yes, we can. And supposedly, you've got to say that with inverted commas, supposedly looking better, because these people think they're looking better. Personally, I've never seen any, how can I say, unnatural body enhancement. I've never seen one that I've said that it looks actually good. If you think you've got a flat bum or a flat chest, and then you think, I'm going to go for a, speaking to a woman, and you think you're going to go for an operation and have this and that enhanced and then look good, to me, you probably look better as you were in the first place. Even if you say you're missing this, that, and the other, it just doesn't work. But what it is, there's an offer of, it's a charm. There's an offer of luxury within the healthcare system. And you come to us, and we can make you look better. That's a far cry from lying on that, stone cold table, in 500 AD, and they go, oh yeah, your abscess is gonna take over. Next step, we're gonna chop off your leg, and then you just gotta lie there and take it, bang, and then just walk in. How long is that gonna take for that pain to disappear? You're there for like a month. You could probably just die of pain. I've had a thing where I've cut my tendon, and that's the most painful thing ever. When I got to the surgeon, because obviously I had no choice, I had to go to ESAW, blah blah blah. When I got to the surgeon, because at first they kept telling me, nah, you ain't done nothing, and I said, I've fucking disconnected my thumb, and they were like, no, you haven't. When I actually got to the specialist 2 weeks after, he said to me, you should have had an emergency operation on the day. And so I've obviously gone through the tendon, chopped it, just clean cut, and then it's just hanging there for weeks, just hanging before anyone's even attempted to reattach it. So the pain you feel in that time, and then you think 500 years ago people having amputations, chop their leg off. I mean, if that pain just carried on for a month, 2 months, 3 months, you'd end up just dying of the pain. But you see now they got that sophistication, they got that little bit of luxury. They can say, you don't have to go through all that. We got ways of doing it, and it, like I say, it all boils down to sorcery, and concoctions and pharmakeia, so on and so forth. But like I say, just finish off on that. In America, Isaiah 13:19, and Babylon, which is America, the glory of kingdoms, the number one kingdom around the world. It says the excellency, you see, it's all the same words. So the promptness, the majesty of the Chaldees' majesty shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. So I hope that's edifying. I'm going to leave it right there. Until next time, I'm going to say all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakah Kwadash. And until next time, Shalom.